everyone. That was like an old intro thing that I used to say. Hello everyone. I just remember that. Hello everyone. That's how I used to introduce my videos. So weird. I just suddenly started doing that. Anyway, today we're gonna do another Patreon tutorial. It is a week or a little bit late because it's supposed to be up before the end of the month because it's monthly, but I had a convention last weekend and it was kind of crazy and I did not have the time to do everything at once. So we are doing the tutorial today, and I'm pretty sure, I don't need to check, that the result of the poll was how to add life to your illustrations, give life to your illustrations, make it lively, make it entertaining. So, I haven't actually prepared anything, as you can see. I don't really know what I'm going to do, and I think that's part of the point of making an illustration. You don't really know what you're gonna do. So I am going to create a illustration with you guys and see how I will add like life to the drawing and see what I maybe subconsciously add into the planning process of the piece before I actually start cleaning it up. And I know I already have a few things that I do add to it to make it lively or like feel alive and feel real, and that's mostly in details, but I thought we could just do that. And I think what I'm going to do is actually it'll just be thumbnails. I won't finish the whole illustration, we don't have time for that, but we are going to use this little fisherman cat that I did like a while back, and I'm going to make a little illustration with him because we might be doing a pin design with him. My boyfriend said that he wanted a fisherman cat with little fish for a pin, so we're trying to do that. And I thought that would be really cute. That was just like the randomest idea I could come up with that didn't have any connection to anything else that I do with storyline or anything. So that's what we are going to try to do. So I feel like adding life or giving your illustration life is just such a big thing. I don't know if I can even try and explain it all. It just comes with experience, and if you read comics, if you read books, or if you read or watch movies, you will kind of get a feel for what feels alive to you and what doesn't feel alive. So it's very individual and it's very up to experience. But I think the key part for me is expressions, details, and composition. Let's write that down before I forget. Expressions, details, and composition. My handwriting is horrible, so please don't look at that. But I think we're going to start with composition because it's just the main kind of layout of the illustration, and we kind of have to figure that out before we do anything else. And I always love to do things like this. I might not do it for all my pieces, but for most of them I will kind of find a grid where I'll have different focal points, but I'm actually not going to have it there because I feel like if you have a grid or have some sort of pattern, like here is where I'm putting that and that, then it'll feel less alive. The whole thing is you have to keep it loose and sketchy to kind of give it a good life. There's words I haven't come up with yet. Maybe we should actually, I'm going to turn the illustration this way and not that way, extend it that way, because I just feel like it's going to be better for my illustration. So what I'm seeing is down in this corner, I want a cat that's shocked. So I'll just do it really rough. I'll do a shocked cat. This is my first, what I want to do. And I want his hat to kind of be flying off, and you'll have his ears kind of going the direction of this way. And his whole body is kind of going this way. We might move some stuff later, but 1 boot, 2 boot, Maybe we sit on the underside of the boots. And we probably need to move him down. So as you can see, we're giving him quite a lot of movement just by the pose. And nothing is like anatomically correct, but it is going to, you just have to like give it some sort of life. And I'll change and tweak, and nothing is, it's probably not going to look like this at the end of this hour that we're talking, but it is, yeah, it's all about like just keeping your brush big and doing like no detail, but just movements. So even here, like I want this to go actually more like that, and like that. And then his tail can go up. And then we can maybe add like a, I want him to sit on something here. Maybe it's a, maybe we can have a bucket here with worms. And this is a rock and the water is here. And I think his arms need to, I don't know, maybe that is right. I want the fish that he's fishing to end up here with a nice curve. So what's happening in my head is that everything on this side of the drawing is going this way, and everything on this side of the drawing is going the other way, just to like keep you in the same movement. If this was going this way, you will kind of feel like it was going outside the picture, but doing this is kind of like containing the piece a little bit. So I don't know, kind of know what the fishing pole would do. Maybe it's a golden fish. But as I said, like this needs to be tweaked, like size of the fish needs to go down. And then maybe we can have a fin going out here, and fin going out here. Like that, and I need the water to go out, but this is gonna go out of frame. Okay, I'm gonna bend his arm actually. It's like he's actually swiveling the thing in, and this is gonna go that way. And then I'm trying to give, oh, that's a good one. No. Where do we put that line? So that's good. And then everything out here is the water going up. This is the underneath of his boot, like so. This is also boot down here. And this is his pants, and then his tail going up here. His head is, well, his hat is kind of going up in a way. So yes, as I say, like it's all about continuing to tweak until it feels like it has enough life and movement. almost sort of feel like we need to scale it down. Actually, no, it has got quite a good, like I think, well, a little bit, because it's good to have a bit of margin around the details that you have. Might actually be good to move this guy down. Maybe we can make the fish a bit interesting. I'm not sure if we want to add, maybe we should add a pier, or if we add a pier, I feel like we need to look underneath it, so let's try that. Now, if you're not as confident as maybe I am when it comes to erasing and taking away and stuff like that, you can always, if you're doing it digitally, you can always copy paste and continue on the new one. Or if you're doing this traditionally, I would recommend just doing really rough, quick ones. That's pretty much how you would do it if you were doing it traditionally. So you would continue like this for a while. Digital just makes it easier because you can copy paste the exact one, but actually maybe even the doing it traditionally and continuing to sketch it again and again will just help you so much more when it comes to doing the actual piece because you have done it before. I like this a lot. It gives it a bit better. Like we can add. See, now I'm moving into the details. So I've already done the expressions and composition, and now I'm kind of moving into the details. And I want him to have a fish, like a bait bucket, and that is going to come in a second, where I think I'm gonna add it as a movement. But I also want down here some like grass, because I want him to be in like a freshwater lake, and adding that there is a good idea, just to get a little bit more nature in. All of this is in the background here would be just faint, you wouldn't really be able to see it, but it's nice to have some sort of hint that it was there or is there. And I'm going to have everything going up here. And water is hard. You never know what to do with water. I'm gonna have a new splash here so that it looks a bit better. That's good. So I keep looking over to my screen where I'm recording because it's showing it smaller. Right here it's a bit big. I can also like adjust my navigator here to be a bit bigger, like that. But for me, if I'm looking here, it's actually quite nice size. Just my second screen. But if you're doing it on an iPad or if you're doing it with one screen, I recommend just try and go this way or zoom out. And if you do it traditionally, then just move away from the piece. Just try and get like everything in one view so that you don't feel like you're looking everywhere. The problem is just that if I don't do it, I feel like I'm just looking at one detail. And when it comes to planning the piece and bringing in the life, this is where you put in the life of the drawing. And if you don't have that perspective, you are not going to be able to give it the life that it deserves. Getting more and more comfortable with these videos, aren't I? It's just me an hour rambling, trying to explain what I do. And I'm sure there will be things that I haven't even explained that you guys will be like, what the heck, what did you do here? But I'll try and explain it in a second. There's a few things that I know I haven't talked about, and that is specifically movement. But I want to add in the last little detail, which is his bucket of fish foods. Which I think he's going to kick some way. Can we? Okay, so this is the first time I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to duplicate that just in case. And I'm going to erase all this. And like kind of falling off here, we're going to have a bucket falling off the pier. All the worms are going to fall out this way. Kind of bending that way. I don't want him to have it the other way because that kind of ruins the movement that he is going backwards. So he's pushed the bucket and the bucket is flowing off. And that's the way it needs to go. If I do it the other way, let's try and like just twist it. I think it'll feel weird. Yeah, it'll just... It won't be right. This is just like a feeling thing. Whatever I feel like, I will put in or not put in. But, yeah. It's, as I said, like in the beginning, it comes down to what you've done before, experience. And, that's just how it works. You just have to try it. And as I always say, finish not perfect. So please, when you're doing a thumbnail and you're starting a piece, please just finish it. Like, even though you don't feel like this is a good one, just finish it and then go to the Patreon Discord, post it there and people can help you. There's a channel just for critiques and people there are super, super friendly. And if I have time, I will try helping as well. I of course don't always have time, but I try my best. Especially now, I'm trying to do the Kickstarter for August, and it's quite the challenge. Trying to give it some more life here. I love ice like that, so I really want that to be there. He looks a bit dead, actually. Yeah, let's do that. Give him a flipper going up. Kind of like, what the heck? And I actually want here, I'm gonna add the is it called? In Norwegian it's called dup, but I don't know what it's called in English. It's pretty much what like lies on the top of the water, kind of keeps it afloat a little bit. So now I'm just like doing details, as you can see. Adding the bucket, adding that thing there, adding like things to the actual cat maybe, and the fishing rods. This is just when I start cleaning up my sketch a bit more. I don't do detail, like go into lines just yet, but it's very, very close to that. I'm gonna have him hold it here, even though that might be wrong. I think it would look weird if I had it any other place. There we go, and then boot here. Those shoes needs to be fixed because I'm so bad at drawing shoes, it's kind of crazy. Even if I've studied them, I will always kind of ruin them. I think maybe the worms will go this way. Okay, so actually the movement, I'm going to show you guys what I'm seeing. So when you first look at the piece, you will see this, I hope. I don't know. And I think your eyes go directly to the fish. So these two are the first two things that you kind of see. And I think you see the bucket. But now everything, this movement here will bring you to the cat. This movement here will bring you to the rod, which will bring you down here, will bring you around here, and then up again to the cat. So this is kind of the shape that you want in a piece. If you want a lively, actiony kind of illustration, you need to have a loop. It doesn't need to be this shape, which is probably one of the favorite shapes that you can use, but you can have like your secondary loop, which is this, but you can also have your first kind of focal point loop thing, which is the cat and the fish. And then the third one is like all this here also goes into the same kind of loop, but kind of extra. Same thing with this movement here, goes like that. So you have all these extra loops in here that don't really, they're not the main one, but they're in there. And it just keeps you going and keeps you going. So everything that's in the corners here needs to go that way. Or like keep you within the frame still. If you had a curve going this way, it will bring your sight or your eyes to go outside of the illustration. And you'll just end up not seeing. Well, the loop will stop, and you want the loop to continue. You want people to continue to explore the drawing and the piece, and that's kind of a part of giving it life, is to have it feel like you can just continue to watch it and watch all the details. There might not be actually that much detail in the piece, but the fact that you have all the loops, whenever you look at a part of illustration, you'll just continue to look, because that part of the illustration would keep you going to the next part and the next part, and then maybe you go back to that part. So you need to do that if you want like an action, or even if you have a small like room. Actually, you know what? We still have about half an hour, so I will do another sketch, because I already feel like this is a good actiony, detailed piece. So I'll try another one which is more calm. This one's very much action. So I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna do that. Alright, so let's make a second illustration. I'm gonna copy this layer. If I can. There we go. I'm gonna put it here. And I'm gonna make a new layer, and this is what we're gonna sketch with. So, what can we do? Something, should we use the same cat? Maybe he's making fish stew or something. He's cooking. I feel like we need to use the same cat, because it's a part of this video. And I think this is how I come up with ideas. I'm seeing it in my head. I want him to be on the cutting board with a fish. So we're just gonna sketch that, doesn't matter where it is, especially if you're doing this traditionally, I would recommend not having that square and just figure out the first important pose that you want your character to be in. So just do that, but since I'm digital, I can just sketch whatever I want in the illustration. And we can make him do some things. This is sad that he killed the fish. I don't know. It's a fish. Maybe I should make the fish ugly. I'm sorry, that sounded bad. But maybe I should make it look like a little bit scary so that it doesn't seem as bad that it's dead. Anyway. We haven't decided on this thing yet. Okay, so let's move this down. I kind of feel like having him down in this corner. Now, I wouldn't put him in the middle, that feels a bit too spot on. not spot on, but like it feels a bit too. What's the guy who did the Grand Budapest Hotel? That guy. His style is very much in the middle. So that means we're gonna have a bench about here. Don't know what he's wearing yet. I don't know what he's holding. If he's holding anything at all, maybe I should change that. Whatever, I'll try. But for this illustration, it's more about the composition, the detailed expression. Like this one was added, like the curves and everything, and you still want that to happen in your calm illustrations, but you need to do it calmly. I want this to be a windowsill here. Maybe something's growing here. Actually, no, this is not what I'm seeing. I want it to be more like so. More closer to the viewer. And this is all perspective stuff, which is, I think, another tutorial that we did. So please go, if you're new, you can go look through the other tutorials as well and see if there's anything there that will help you when it comes to perspective. But I keep it very rough. I don't even use perspective grids at this point because that just does not help me out. And I want here to have maybe his hat. No, not right, not right. Let's try moving him to the other side. I think maybe this better. See, you just have to keep trying. And at some point it will feel right, and then that will just help you out. I'm gonna have him like a little bit of dough or something here. Maybe there's a door here. I want his fishing gear to be in the picture somewhere, so I'm just gonna add that. Oh yeah, no, now we're feeling it. So I'm gonna add the fishing gear here. And his fishing hats. And coat is gonna hang here. And then maybe he has a little door here. This is a corner of the room. It's kind of in the middle, which is bad, but that's alright. I'll give it like an opening, and I'll give it a little letterbox, a little handle here. And maybe a fireplace here. And something cooking. And then, I don't know, some ingredients, something here. You can even see the bucket of bait down here that he maybe rescued for something. I want something more here, but that's like secondary detail that we can add in later. Maybe, yeah, this is the pipe down here, and this is something cooking, and then maybe there's a window. I don't know. I think maybe just the wall with something hanging on it. It's nice. So that's the rough picture. I think that's quite cute. So he is actually. Let me show you. He's actually in this part of the illustration. So this is what I was talking about earlier. I really like this. I subconsciously keep things there, like here, I should maybe put something here and here. So maybe I should move the hats that way. It's not actually that important. We could have something else happening, but we can try just moving this over. Then we need to have something else here, and that's the whole thing. So I think it's probably better. The door is probably cute to have there. But the same thing for this illustration here. Kind of. Is it? I try to keep things interesting. I never put anything here, like in the middle. Well, I say that and then the fish is pretty much there. It's weird because sometimes it works. I think comb illustrations, I like this sort of style where you put them into certain areas where I feel like it fits, like that composition way. But for big pieces like that, I feel like this works better. Like, just make sure you have a good make sure you have a good like loop going. Let's see if we can add a loop into this other piece though. So that would be interesting. So I feel like his first loop is just a slight one, because you see his face, you look down here, and I think I need to add something here, and then you see the fishing gear, and I think we need to add something. Well, I think maybe your eyes go to, cooking, and then to details, and then to whatever this is. So maybe this is a spiral composition. So where the ice is moving to. So actually we are going to, you can add this into any of your illustrations. I add them subconsciously and I'm trying to figure out why I add it and where I add it and what kind of ones I add. But for you, you can see what I'm adding and try and just add that or duplicate it. So I think maybe we can add a few knives. I don't know. I feel bad about. It's food. It's fine. Let's remove that. I'm gonna have it go the other way because that's better for the composition. Oh, I know what we're doing. I know. No knife. Cookbook. So now he's actually looking at a cookbook and how to cook and prepare the fish, which is a bit better than a knife. There we go. So now he's doing that. I think I want to add something hanging off here for some reason. And then you have all the fishing gear and everything like that in the background there. Nice little door. Oh, we can have like a little thing hanging here saying home. Something like that. And that's pretty much how I would do illustration. And just plan it. I think this is a good way to do it. And I have some detail here. So I think that helps. I think now this is working better. Because you have him, you have the fish, you have the cookbook, you have the fishing gear, you have the door in the background, which is kind of empty space, cooking, ingredients, then kind of could go around, could continue, but it's definitely still a composition with details. And I think by me doing this live and not actually knowing what I'm doing and like, oh, let's try and add this and try and add that, you kind of get a sense of how I do it. At least I hope it makes sense. And gives you sort of a understanding on how to maybe add more things to your illustration to give it more life. Whoop, that's not the one. If you want to have a specific list on how to kind of come up with the ideas for what to add, maybe I'll try and make a checklist. Make a little checklist. We'll see what this is. So, okay, so questions you need to ask yourself for the piece to know what you're going to add or not add is what, who, where, And when is not as important, but it's kind of important. So what is happening? Fishing / cooking. Who? Cats. Hey, cats. Where? Lake / home. And when, time period and stuff, just doesn't really matter that much. So you don't really need to do that one. But it's there if you wanna. And then from those questions, you can kind of put in more things. So to continue your thought process, this is what happens in my head without me writing it down. It's like fishing, for example. This is not very well laid out, but I'll put it down here. So for fishing, I can take a little point out here and say rod, lake, pier, gear, fish, water. I don't know, you can add all that in and then you can continue with like lake, you have like the plants, you have nature, you have all these other things that you can kind of drag out and then you can put that into illustration and see how it works. It's so individual compared, like, when it depends on the illustration, depends on you, what you know, what you've experienced. But just keep it loose and do a lot of sketches and decide on one and try finishing it. And if you need help, there's a tutorial help, as I said, Discord group. You can come get help and all of that stuff. Cooking. For me, it was cutting board. That was the first thing I came up with. Cutting board. It was knife. Kitchen. Home. Spices. Table. Worm. So all these different things kind of add into the illustration. I don't need to write it down because I already have it going through my head and I kind of just slam it down as I want. So cat, that's the whole thing you can do yourself. Like lake, home, that's kind of the continuation of that one. There you go. But it's a good way to just get like a basic understanding of what you're doing, and then you can add all the details, and you can do the composition, and I hope it works, and I hope it helps. If you have any questions, as I've said like 3,000 times in this tutorial, please comment that in the comment section below the Patreon post, not the actual video on YouTube. It's easy for me just to find it on Patreon. Also use the Discord group and go in there and find the channels for both. I think there's a tutorial help, and there's also a critique group where you can add your whatever you're doing and get critique on it. If you want tutorial help, you can specifically ask questions relating to this tutorial and how things work, and I don't know. As always, I'm still learning how to do these tutorials. They are very much me just trying to understand and explain how I do things myself. I kind of just do them. I don't really know how it works, but it works. And I hope that somehow me doing this live helped you understand what I'm doing. And maybe you picked up some things. Maybe you did pick up some things. Maybe the things that you wish that I talked about that I didn't talk about. And actually maybe did, but I didn't say it. So if I did that, please let me know. I always try and find ways to make these tutorials better. And just, yeah, easier for you to learn from and understand. I would like to maybe start doing if you want to be a part of it, like homework? I guess not homework, but please make let's make a homework section before we end this. Homework. One illustration. But make 6 thumbnails. These are thumbnails of sketches. Find the loop. And then, wait, we can do this. Add details. Add and then ask questions. Kind of. And if you do this, please go to the tutorial help and we can chat about it there and see how it works for you and what didn't work. All that jazz. Anyway, I'm going to end this here because I have a lot of stuff to do. Thank you guys so much for ordering all of the mermaid kind of orders and pin orders. I'm kind of swamped with orders right now, so that's what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I hope you have a lovely week and weekend, depending on when you watch this. And I will see you next month for another tutorial. If you have any suggestions for the next tutorial, please comment that in the comments below here or the YouTube. Well, I would recommend down this Patreon post. If there was something else from the previous polls that I didn't do or it wasn't selected, please repeat that in this post so that I can repeat that to the poll, and I'll make a poll next week. God, lots of poll things, lots of details. We have to stop talking. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.